Well, joining us now is Dr. Tony Morris from Armstrong Atlantic State University. A former journalist himself, he now teaches English at the school. Really, what is your impression of what you've seen and heard so far from the journalism side of things in the middle of this conflict?
Well, what we see going on is a confluence of events that we didn't really expect, and the journalists haven't even expected, I don't think. We noticed today with Christian Amanpour and also with Anderson Cooper over there having conflicts in the middle of the riots. And so this brings up a different problem, I think, in the journalism perspective of how to get in and do the story when the riot is going on and the journalists are not quite as respected as maybe they have been in the past in some ways.
Is there something that Americans can learn when we see that these reporters are basically risking their lives to bring us the story?
Well, I think definitely we can maybe get a sense of appreciation for what the freedoms we have here. It's not at all clear to us sometimes how important journalists are. In fact, we look at them as more of a problem sometimes than a help or a hindrance instead of a help. But actually, we get to see over there how important it is to have these free and open society where the news can come out and we can then support or be against whatever issue that we're trying to go with.
These days with Facebook and Twitter and some of the iReports and things, everybody seems to be a journalist in their own way.
That's right.
Do you think that affects maybe the way people feel about the current set of journalism that are out there?
Well, I think it does, and it makes people a little, in some ways, more skeptical, but also helps people to have more faith in what they're seeing because they say, well, we're getting something that's unedited and unexpurgated, so we can choose or decide for ourselves and judge for ourselves what we're actually seeing. On the other end, though, I think some governments may be even more leery of that and more afraid of what that brings, because then it may expose them to some news items they might not want to see on the screens.
Well, Dr. Morris, tell us, what will your conversation be with your students about what they should learn from this situation?
Well, I'm teaching a class right now on the First Amendment law, and so what we are discussing in our classes right now is how a constitution can be put together and that will place the freedom of speech at such a high premium, and how maybe we'll look at the Muslim nations over there and see how they might put their own constitution together, and that's one of the projects that I'd like to work on with them. As a matter of fact, is trying to put them in the seats of the Muslim protesters that are over there, and if a new government does form into being from the Mubarak government, well then what kind of government may come to replace that, and what will the role of journalism be in that government?
History in action, they're going to learn a lot. It's a hands-on lesson in this case for a lot of people.
That's exactly right.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Thanks
Tony
for having
Morris
me.
from Armstrong Atlantic
We
State.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.